it is time for all of you to do your main report of the day. And your main report of the day is... we got to study about film adaptations. Something that nobody had never talked about in film class history. We got a movie adaptation that was based by something that's very important. And you could say it's somewhat faithful to the original storyline, but sometimes materials can be very darn different, if you know what I mean. So go ahead, ladies and dudes, do your main report and find whatever film that you like that was based by whatever it is. From a movie, previous movie that we know from the past, the book, the anime, the TV series. I'm not sure about a TV series. That'll be too darn silly. But just from books, previous movies, anime, or whatever. This is going to be a very hard one to do. That's for sure. Well, anyway, hello, ladies and dudes. This is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobot1987. This is my review for today. And today we're going to do a brand new top 5 list that nobody has never done before. It has something to do with adaptation films that was based by whatever it is. So yeah, for my top 5 list of the day is the top 5 best film adaptations that is truly based by something. It doesn't matter if it's from a book, or a movie, a previous movie that we all know and love, a fairy tale, or something else. It's hard for me to explain about this one. If you pay attention to these two adaptations very carefully, sometimes there are some adaptations that's very faithful to the original story. Or sometimes it needs to have some changes here and there. So yeah, Wolverine is really an adaptation of Samurai X Trust and Betrayal. And it does have some things here and there that has the very same thing as this one. That's for sure. And yeah, this one will fit as an honorable mention. And yeah, there was another good adaptation that was based by something too. Does anybody remember The West Side Story? The West Side Story is a 1950s adaptation of the Shakespeare play of Romeo and Juliet. And you can say West Side Story was one of the source materials that stayed very faithful to the original story, but they decided to add some changes here and there in some ways. Well, if you know the West Side Story, you know what I'm talking about. So overall, this is going to be a very, 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 very tough list to do. So without further ado, ladies and dudes, here are my top 5 favorite adaptation films that is truly based by something. And like I said about my honorable mentions, Wolverine and Samurai X Trust and Betrayal is one of these adaptations that I truly enjoy the best. That's really darn cool. We got The Incredible Hulk, that was really a mixed adaptation of Beauty and the Beast, King Kong, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and Frankenstein. We got The Lion King, that's truly the Disney adaptation of Hamlet. And sadly, the ones I do not have in my list is... I got 2 Pokemon movies. One is The Rise of Darkrai, that was truly an adaptation of the Phantom of the Opera. And Pokemon the movie Coco, that was based by Tarzan. And The Fugitive, that was based by Les Miserables, but they decided to do it with Jean Bonhomme and Chavez. Yeah, that's for sure. So, those are my honorable mentions of some good adaptation movies That was based by something. So, here we go. Coming at number 5 is Belle, the adaptation, well, the mixed adaptation of Beauty and the Beast, and the movie I really don't have is Ready Player One. It's strange, you got two mixing films that was based by the adaptation of our dear beloved fairy tale, and also from the book or the one that Steven Spielberg made. I really love Belle very much. It had a good storyline, likable characters, good 2D and 3D animation alike, and they found a way to make the storyline pretty darn different. And yes, there's a lot of twists and turns going on in the film that some of us are freaking surprised of. And yes, the best part about this movie called Belle, at least it had a good twist to it, that the Beast had never got a human form in you. No, the Beast doesn't have a human form at all in you. I wonder what the Beast's human form would have looked like if they should have added it in the film. And yeah, Belle is one of these characters who had no hatred for the Beast. And that is a very good, interesting change for the whole entire movie. So yeah, this is a very good adaptation indeed. And I have to put it at the number 5 spot. Coming at number 4 is Ponyo, the adaptation of The Little Mermaid. And the good news is about this good adaptation of the movie, it doesn't have that dark and edgy storyline that we're all familiar with. You know, for the Little Mermaid storyline about the Little Mermaid had lost her voice because her tongue got ripped off, and also she died at the end by turning to sea foam. But it's a good thing that Hayao Miyazaki decided to make a nice different storyline that was truly based by Hans Christian's fairy tale. Well, Hans Christian Andersen, well, you get the picture. He made a very fun, cutesy, magical storyline that featured a cute little fish who was really fish out of water, and she wants to get to know about the human world. And she freaking loves ham. Who doesn't love a character who loves ham? And it's a good idea if the two main characters were little kids instead of teenagers. Yeah, what will happen if they fell in love in an early age? Yeah. Who doesn't love a fun, cutesy storyline that featured fish out of water and a little girl who decided to become a human so quickly without the sea witch? It's a very fun, cutesy movie to watch, and it's hard for me to say, so I put it at the number 4 spot. Coming at number 3 is Spider-Man No Way Home. That is truly an adaptation of The Wizard of Oz. So, yeah, we finally got a comic book film that was truly based by the film that we're all familiar with. And yes, this movie does have an interesting twist that nobody had never thought about. What will happen if everybody from Wizard of Oz came from going into Dorothy's world and not Dorothy's world going to the Oz world? Yeah, it's weird that Peter White is truly the Dorothy type, but without the ruby slippers. And yes, this movie did a good job of giving us some good changes that was from the original source material of The Wizard of Oz. Well, let's just say the thing they never added in Spider-Man No Way Home, they never add Emerald City, they never add the Yellow Brick Road, or the ruby slippers, or the cute little dog Toto. So you don't see any of that in the film. And also, the best part I love about that was in both of these adaptations, it has to be those 3 characters. We got a guy who will be the Scarecrow, a guy who will be the Tin Man, and the other is the Cowardly Lion. And those 3 guys are Peter 2, Peter 3, and Otto 1. They deserve to be those three characters of the whole entire film. And also, yeah, for what those three guys have in common is the brain, the heart, and the courage. And they did show it at the near end point of the movie. Well, if you see Spider-Man No Way Home, you'll know what I'm talking about. And yeah, Doctor Strange should deserve to be the wizard. A good man who's really bad wizard. Well, if you know what I mean. So it's a great adaptation that was really based by a book, but I know we got one that was based by a comic book. Hard for me to explain, so I have to put that at the number 3 spot. Coming at number 2 goes to Angels and Demons, that is truly based by our favorite Disney film, Mulan. Yep, that's the most surprising thing I gotta put on this list, is we finally got a good adaptation of Mulan that we're ever going to get. And yes, it is true, both Robert and Mulan have a lot of things in common. They're searching for their reflections of themselves. They both disguise themselves as somebody that they should never be. Well, Robert is the smartest one. Says he knows how to be himself all the way through to the end point of the movie. And they're trying to search for something that's very important to them. Mulan is trying to search for honor, while Robert is searching for faith. And yeah, they both got rewards at the end point of the movie. And you could say about the scientist lady named Victoria, I guess she could be the female version of Mushu. And also that dude with the robe, the dude right here, he could be the Emperor. I know, it is strange. We got a Mulan adaptation at long last, but truly much better than the live action one. That's for sure. So, yep. This adaptation deserves to be at number 2. And finally, at long last, my number 1 most favorite movie adaptation of all time that was truly based by something. I don't care if from a book or an anime or something else that's very important to us. It's hard for me to explain. And sadly, I don't have it in my collection. So for my number 1 most favorite adaptation film that was based by something is truly Tenchi the movie, Tenchi in Love, that was truly based by a previous 1980s film called Back to the Future. This is one of the best epic masterpiece films of all time period, where we could finally get an anime adaptation that was truly based by the 1980s film. And they did a good job with the storyline, the characters, the animation, the score, and that great ending theme song that will bring you to a tear to your eye. And yes, this movie does have an interesting twist that everybody needs to know right away. Well, 2 interesting twists to the movie. One, there is no time machine to be found. You know, the time machine that featured in a car. And also, Tenchi's mom is not in love with her son. So that's the surprising twist you should know about this film. After all, this movie did blow me away to start to finish. And one of the best adaptation films I could ever find in movie history. Hard for me to say, so I have to put that at the number 1 spot. The best adaptation movie that was truly based by something. So overall, those are my top 5 most favorite movie adaptations of all time that was truly based by a book, a previous movie, or an anime, or something else. It's hard for me to explain. So tell me, ladies and dudes, what is your favorite movie adaptation of all time that was truly based by something? Something that you truly like or loved for all these years. Well, whichever it is, leave a comment there and let me know. And I'll be back for more videos to come for this September. I hope and pray. So, I'll see you all later, and sayonara.